Hello, this is Lions Draft Talk with my first mock draft of the season and ever on YouTube. So, with the first pick, Chicago, sadly, they get Caleb. He's one of the best quarterback prospects I've ever seen, and he goes to a division rival, unfortunately. Which he'll probably be good. And frankly, he's the best quarterback prospect of the last couple of years. Second, we have another great quarterback prospect going in Drake May, who is a lot closer to Caleb than most people want to think. Because he is very similar tools, very accurate on the field, just not as good in terms of the flashy plays, the athleticism, but he's gotten comparisons to guys like Justin Herbert, so he's a great prospect. Third overall, as much as I don't think he's as good as the consensus, Jane Daniels probably goes third to the Patriots because they really need a quarterback, and Jane Daniels seems like the type of guy they can get. Fourth overall, Marvin Harrison Jr. He is quite possibly a generational receiver, and he fit perfectly in that team with Kyler Murray. Fifth overall, we're getting Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh, the tight end that has always worked in that offense, in a generational one in Brock Bowers. Frankly, Brock Bowers is probably the best tight end prospect ever. He has completely blown every other tight end out of the water in terms of college numbers, and yeah, great draft pick there. Sixth overall, the Giants will take Malik Nabers because they need a top receiver. They haven't had a top receiver since Odell was there, and that has been a long time. Seventh overall, Titans take Joe Alt. They need to build the line of scrimmage, and Joe Alt seems like the type of guy they need. The eighth overall pick, we will get our first trade with Atlanta sending the eighth pick to Houston or not Houston. Atlanta will be sending their eighth overall pick to they'll be sending their eighth overall pick honestly, sending their eighth overall pick to Buffalo, exchange for the 28th. In 2 seconds. So the Bills can take Rome Odunze. And the reason why Buffalo would do this is because, frankly, they don't have a real wide receiver one right now, and Diggs has kind of fallen off a little bit, which I believe they're gonna I believe they're going to move on from him. So, yeah. The ninth pick, the Bears. The reason why someone will trade for the Bears also is because the Bears really would want Rome Odunze, and someone seems like the type of guy who teams didn't trade up for in this draft. 10th overall pick, or 9th overall pick, the Bears take Olu Fashanu, who, in my opinion, is up there with Aldis for tackle one. He's more of a pass blocker, but frankly, the Bears' offensive line isn't very good right now, and they could use another tackle. Darnell Wright's been good. They need another one. 10th overall pick, the Jets take Fuaga. This is pretty obvious. They're terrible offensive line, good tackle prospect. Seems like a good match. 11th, the Vikings, probably here. This is under the assumption they signed Kirk Cousins long term. So they're taking Dallas Turner when this responds. They will be taking Dallas Turner with the 11th overall pick to replace Daniel Hunter because they frankly won't be able to afford him. 11th, Broncos take Verse. They weren't great at edge this year. They could use a guy like Verse. And there he goes. 13th. This one I have a tough time with because the Raiders have quite a few holes, and they're pretty unpredictable right now. So, but I'm just going to have them taking Terrion Arnold because, well, I don't think he is exactly the best corner in this draft. I think he's going to be the first one off the board. So, there he goes at 13. 14th, Saints take Ladu. Their edge room is getting up there in age. They need a young guy to develop some momentum. And even though a lot of these mock drafts have edge guys going in the 20s, this is too important of a position to drop to the 20s. They're getting 3 of them are going in the top 15, even if they're not very good. With the 15th pick, the Colts, I think this is pretty obvious. Their secondary is terrible. Nate Wiggins is here. Just take him. Yeah, Nate Wiggins, very good corner. Young. And this Colts team, being as young as it is, they could use a guy like Nate Wiggins. 16th, Seattle. They will be looking at an interior lineman probably. And even though this seems pretty high for them, they will be going Jackson Powers Johnson because they need to be able to run the ball in teams. And this will help them become that running team they were at one point. They want to get back to that identity. 17th, the Jags. They're taking Brian Thomas Jr. Need to get Trevor Lawrence or number one. He has the potential at least to be that. Now, 18th, Bengals. They've struggled to protect Burrow for a while now. Why not add a tackle who's got a pretty high grade in Latham? He might not be the best pass blocker yet, but he'll get there. Possibly. 19th, the Rams. They have needs all over the secondary. And frankly, I think they like DeJean. So, there he goes at 19. Now 20. Here's an interesting spot for a quarterback. Even though, yes, I do believe Pittsburgh will trade for Justin Fields. Thing is, they're probably going to take another corner here. And Quinion Mitchell, I think, is the best guy on the board right here. He goes at 20. And a little bit of a surprise. At 21, Miami, they take Mims. their offensive line is horrible right now, and they need help everywhere. So why not get the best lineman on the board? 22, you got Philly. They're taking Philly McKinstry. We saw how their secondary got burnt, so add another corner will help. Pick 23. You got the Texans. I honestly think I was thinking about trading up for them for Odunze, but since they didn't, and I don't really see any great receivers down at this range, maybe they could take like a Troy Franklin, but or trade down, honestly. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to trade down. Someone's going to go up to get Newton. And with their increased draft capital, I honestly believe, or not their increased draft capital, their current haul of picks, I believe Arizona's going to climb up a little bit to get Newton. These trades are not actually what I believe is going to happen. It just matches up well. There's probably going to be players involved in some of these. And Cardinals are here. And they will be taking Jer'Zhan Newton because they still need guys in the interior, and Newton is easily the best interior guy in this class. Don't let other things fool you. 24th, Dallas. They're going tackle. Tyron Smith's getting up there, and, well, they need Terrence Steele's bad. So Kyler Guyton seems like the guy that can help him out on that side. 25th pick, the Packers. They're a team that could make a big jump this year. They compete with us in the division, but Troy Fautanu. The offensive line appeared a lot better than it was this year, I think. They could use some help on just fixing it up or solidifying it. And Troy Fautanu is probably their best guy here to do it. 26, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going to be in an interesting position this offseason. They could lose Mike Evans. Because of that, I'm going to take one of my favorite wide receivers on the board right now, and my favorite wide receiver on the board here, who is Adonai Mitchell. He is underrated as it gets right now, and honestly, he's better than Keon Coleman. Anyways, at pick 27, Texans keep Byron Murphy in the state because I believe Sheldon Ranks is a free agent this offseason. They could really, the way that the Texans will build is something I would believe is similar to the Niners and teams from the Shanahan tree, which means they prioritize that line of scrimmage. And that defensive tackle position, really, a lot of guys who went in the first to those teams. 28, the reason why the Falcons traded down, because they want to get J.J. McCarthy. He didn't put up great numbers in college, but honestly, they are terrible at quarterback right now, and they could use a guy like, using at least an upside swing like J.J. McCarthy. Get yourself a bridge, sit JJ for a year, he comes out and leads your franchise for possibly 15 years. 29, you got the Lions, and Ennis Rakestraw it is, because I believe we're going to sign an edge in free agency. All of the best defensive tackles are off the board. Despite Brad Holmes' tendencies to go with the best player available, I believe that Rakestraw is probably the guy in this team who will make the biggest impact right now. At pick 30, the Ravens, they will take Kamari Lassiter because they are also in need of a corner because actually they're in need of a lot of things, but corner right now seems important for them. Is that Brandon Trice there? I'll be next. Kamari Lassiter. I don't know. He just feels like he'd be a Raven. Tough physical corner. Small but fights. Perfect guy to be a Raven. Pick 31, the Niners. They select Dwayne Barton. Their offensive line is terrible. And they need almost everything on that line. And at pick 32, you got the Chiefs, who get Troy Franklin. And there we go.